All right, welcome back to another episode of Real Talk with a Vulnerable Angel and friends. I am your host, the Vulnerable Angel, Dominica May. And this is actually our 1 year anniversary show. We started this show exactly today's date 1 year ago. We had a different title at the very beginning, but has been going with this title since December of last year. So amazing that this has been going for almost weekly since then. And our episode tonight is the wounds that stay. So that is what our topic of discussion will be. Our questions will be coming from ChatGPT. And I am joined by my regular guest, Sharad. Welcome, Sharad.
Hello.
Wait, where are
Give
you?
me 1 second. There we go. Hello.
Like, oh no, you've disappeared. You didn't turn your camera on. No, we're all good. Yeah, so I don't know. I wanted to start off, I guess, kind of summing up. How is this year doing this show with me? How has that been for you? How have you felt about it?
Um, Honestly, it's been a mixture of two things. Probably one, it's definitely been therapeutic, I'd say, and two, I'm learning a lot more. You know,
That's
like
amazing.
yeah, either just talking to people or learning new things or the quizzes we're taking, and yeah, so it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, we've been enjoying those psychology tests that we've done over the last few weeks. It's been fun for me too, and also learning learning stuff about myself a little bit. Yeah, I also I don't know. A year is a long time to. I don't think I've dedicated like a year of time to something like this like ever before. So um, it for me, I guess so for anyone who is watching who maybe missed the memo almost a year ago, the reason that we changed or that I changed the name of this stream to Real Talk with a Vulnerable Angel and Friends was because I had been using the pseudonym Angel to talk on a live stream that was being done by an ex of mine, and I kind of realized that was, I wanted to own the shame of that. Like I owned up to him, let him know afterwards that I was going to be disappearing and why, because it was me and I knew that he didn't want really me around. Um, and so that's kind of why this topic, the wounds that stay, feels relevant, I guess, because it like that wound is still there, right? Like it's changed and evolved over time. This live stream has helped me so much with that, and part of doing this was because I missed having the kinds of vulnerable conversations I had with him, and I'm like, but I can have those conversations with other people. I don't have to only have him as someone who I can significantly talk about, more personal matters. And so I do feel like for me, it has helped me open up and be more vulnerable about my experiences and talking about things that are more challenging to talk about. And so, yeah, that's where we're at.
That's cool.
um, yeah, I also kind of feel like, is there anything I've not touched on now? Like, is there stuff that I still have to say, or have I just like exposed myself completely at this point?
There's always more. There's always more.
There is always more. This week also so like I feel like I may have crossed timelines. I feel like, because I'll tell you why. For the longest time, are you familiar with the TV series Two Guys, a Girl, and a Pizza Place, which was
Yeah,
like, okay,
yeah.
so
It's got Deadpool in it.
Yes, Ryan
Yes.
Reynolds. Ryan Reynolds, like that was my exposure to Ryan Reynolds, right? And so it was a TV series in the 90s. And for the longest time, I was like, oh man, I would really want to watch that series again. And anytime that I like tried to see if it was available on DVD, it was just like never available. I looked it up this past like week, and suddenly you can buy the whole series on DVD like everywhere. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, and then it's supposedly released like in 2017 or something. I was like, I'm sure that I had looked for it more recently than that, and I still hadn't come
There
across
you
it.
go.
So I was like, okay, I'm going to have to pick it up. But I'm like, but I don't necessarily want to pay. I would have paid $43 for it. And then Amazon now has a price history button that you can press so you can see how much the price has changed. And when I clicked on
Oh,
that, I'm like, it had just moved up to $43 from like 20 something. And I'm like, oh, man, like I could have. So I didn't order it, right? And
good.
then, then I went to my local secondhand place that I like to go to buy secondhand DVDs and stuff. I can usually pick up stuff for like $1 sometimes, and they had it. They had it there for $10. So I'm like, fucking what?
Smart.
Like
Very, very smart.
it's so I just wanted to share my I don't know, it's like synchronicity in a way of like this thing that I wanted but I didn't want to pay that much for, and suddenly I can get it secondhand for $10. So I just watched the pilot episode just before this stream. I was like, yes, yes, I have it. So anyway, that's my excitement.
Actually, like that's the thing. Like, based on the pilot, did it shock you about how young everyone looked?
Oh yeah, they look
Yeah.
so young.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah.
Babies.
Mhm. But the other thing is, okay, so I also, while I was at the store, picked up a Ryan Reynolds movie that I don't think I'd actually seen before. It was called Just Friends. Are you familiar with this one?
Yeah, that's the one where he wears a fat suit, isn't it?
He does. He wears a fat suit in the beginning of it. So I don't think I'd seen it before, but it was in the $1 bin at the
Hmm.
store. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna pick this up for $1. And I watched that last night as well. And I was like, oh my God, this is like he's obviously grown so much since then, but he also like still looks very similar. He does not age. He
No,
ages very well.
he takes his vitamins. That one.
So yeah, anyway, that's my joy for the week. Because sometimes the vulnerable sharing is about the joyful things as well, like because it can be hard to share the things that you're excited about, right?
Hmm.
Because you don't want people to be raining on your parade, or they're jealous, so they get like snarky about your joy. So sometimes it can be hard to share those kinds of things. So, woo! I don't know. I'm excited.
That'd be fun.
All right. We will get to our questions now. As I said, these questions come from ChatGPT. So our first question is, what is a wound from your life that never fully healed, and what does it still teach you?
Hmm.
I think some of these questions might be a little bit more challenging. Like, how am I going to answer some of these questions? I don't know. We'll find out.
Hmm. I think the obvious one for me is losing my mum. I think that's probably the biggest thing. It just goes to show that life is precious. You never know when you're gonna go, and it frustrates me because even though mum had a heart condition and she had to go for dialysis, I think was it once a week? I think once or twice a week, if I'm not mistaken. Um, the fact was we were very, very careful at the time about COVID precautions, making sure we were all safe and blah 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 blah. And it's just it still frustrates me sometimes to think about, like, that she got COVID from a nurse, and I I don't blame the nurse at all. I really don't. It's like I don't think that's healthy, but it just goes to show that no matter how many precautions you take, there's always something that could pop up. And I think what it taught me is you can't stay angry, because if you do, it's out of your control, and it is what it is, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, it's interesting that you should say that that is your wound, because my answer was the same. My mum passing away, I've never fully healed from that either. It is so hard losing a parent, because they're such a staple in your life, right? And I lost mine when I was 21, so I didn't have,
Mm.
like, she was like my, like, I don't
Rock.
know, ground, I was going to say grounding place, but that's the same thing, I guess. um so she was the one that kept me kind of realistic perspective on things. Not that I was, always appreciative of that, but she passed away from pancreatic cancer 6 weeks after she was diagnosed with it, and she was given like 3 to 6 months to live at that point. So she died in half the time that was the minimum amount of time that the doctors told her that she had. Um, and for me, I guess what does it still teach me? I've talked about this before. My mindset is the reason that she got cancer was because she kept her emotions to herself.
Mm.
She didn't really express her vulnerabilities and her emotions to people, and I feel like that amassed in her body and became cancerous. And that's one of the things that, like, pushes me towards being more open and vulnerable and trying to share my whole self, because I don't want my challenges and my pain to um metastasize that way, I guess. um but at the same time, I'm also, like, she was 50 years old when she died. So I've always had it at the back of my mind that it is very real possibility that I could die young as well, and I want to live as much of my life as possible to enjoy the things that I want to enjoy, and not spend so much time, doing things that are meaningless, I guess. And you have to have some level of that in life. It's really hard at the moment. Like, I find myself getting really distracted by things that are just not useful at all, like social media and stuff. I'm just like scrolling constantly on. I'm like this is not a valuable use of my time, but I keep doing it. So, like, I was just saying to Sharon before the stream, I'm at this point in my life where I feel like what I really want, like my ideal kind of life going forward once I relocate back to Malaysia, is to distance myself more from the internet. Like, I want to go back. I've just been feeling a lot of this. I want to go back in time to when we were not constantly online, right? I want to go back in a way, some ways like dial up time, but without the speeds of dial up internet, but like where we weren't just constantly online. So maybe the way to do it is to just have a dedicated room in my house for the internet, and I'm not using the internet anywhere else in my house. And then I can feel like I can be more productive with my time when I'm not around that stuff. So, I want to go back to just watching DVDs and movies and on Blu-ray and stuff, and TV shows and things that way. Right? I want to get rid of streaming, like cancel all my streaming services, all that kind of thing. I'm just like, I'm so nostalgic for like late 90s, early 2000s. I feel like
Yeah, go for it.
So yeah, so that, I guess that's, it's related. But yeah, I don't feel like I'd be wasting my time if I'm watching something that's actually uh more plot driven rather than scrolling mindlessly on the internet. And like, also, like, yesterday I opened up a news article that somebody had shared, and I could not get through it because there were so many ads on the
Yeah,
page.
yeah,
They're just like constantly loading, and it's like slowing down my whole computer. I'm just like, what is like, I can't, like, it's such a waste of time when you're being bombarded with ads that you can't even read the thing that you're
yeah,
there at a website for. So yeah, I want to go back to a simpler time.
yeah. Like, that's the thing. Like, I have a few friends who are very tech savvy, and I remember like I would give them my phone and go, "Can you like put all the protection stuff on there?" And they're like, "Yeah, I got you." But like since I've got I reformatted my phone, I'm back to square one. So I'm just like,
uh, Need the ad blockers and stuff. My phone is not as bad as what my computer seems to be with this kind of thing. So I just want to do away with all of that. Like, and a part of my reason for planning to relocate back to Malaysia is also so I can reconnect with people more in person and away from the internet as well. And I have such a strong community in Malaysia, and I'm looking forward to having that more meaningful time compared to what my life seems to be like here.
I get you.
Yep. All right, next question.
Next question.
Are there wounds you've realized you don't want to fully heal because they feel tied to who you are now?
Hmm. Hmm. Um, I think I might have mentioned this once or twice before, but after falling ill, um, I became well, like because I couldn't function by myself. I couldn't move. All I could really do was go to the hospital and back, and if I go out for car rides once a day, that I think like that was it. And I remember uh, I just sent out this mass blast post on social media and to specific people going, "Hey, listen, if you're in the area and you're free, could you drop by? Because I'm feeling a bit lonely." And about a handful of people showed up nonstop, and that was fantastic. People who went above and beyond would like come and see me and spend time with me, which I'm grateful for. But it also taught me that there are people who at surface level they might be your friends but they're not. And I remember like messaging someone specifically and going, "Oh, hey, uh, are you free to meet up anytime soon?" And the person said, "Oh, I'm busy." And I didn't say when, and he never replied back, and I just went, "Okay, I guess we're done." And I just deleted him. And
Yeah.
yeah, so and oddly enough, like this isn't me being petty or being vindictive, but as you get older, you realizes your time, your energy is you only have a finite amount, and it's probably worth spending on people who want to spend time with you. So yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. It's so important to to spend time with the people who want to make time for you, and
yeah,
refocus your energy away from the ones who don't put in the effort. Uh yeah, I guess for me the big one is pretty obvious. Since I wrote a whole 235,000 word memoir about it. I don't, yeah, so this is my relationship with my Malaysian ex, um who I mentioned at the very beginning of the stream for the reason it's the whole vulnerable angel thing. Yeah, so if you're just tuning in, you're not familiar with this before, my history with him was we were together for a couple of months when I was living in Malaysia before I moved here. And then about a month after I moved here, he completely ghosted me, cut me off, and didn't talk to him again for 9.5 years when I went back to Malaysia for the first time since I moved here. And we reconnected because he was invited to my welcome back dinner and he came. And then we got back together again for about 4 months before some big misunderstanding happened, and then he ghosted me again. And I do feel like that is it, like it's such a significant point in my history now that it really is tied to who I am. Like, I can't imagine doing that to a person because of how painful it was for me. And but at the same time, like, I also feel like I grew and learned so much as a result. Like, I would not be who I am today without the fact that he ghosted me both times, right? So the first time after moving here, I fell into my deepest depression I'd ever had, and then I got help, and then I found community here, and I started rebuilding my life and discovering my more authentic self, and becoming friends with people who appreciated who I really was. And I didn't feel like I had to hide really much of anything. Things kind of I think I kind of started hiding myself again like later on, but I'm coming back to it again. Like, my this is I wouldn't be doing this live stream for my history with him. I don't know if it's possible to fully heal. I don't know what that would look like. Because I don't think it's possible to fully heal any of that without having some kind of reconciliation with him. And I don't see that as necessarily viable. Like, it would require something on his part to make that happen. And I've not seen any evidence that that's going to happen. So, yeah, it's embedded in who I am now. And I do think it makes me a better person. I hope it makes me a better person. I'm at the point where I'm now, like I said, I'm owning my shame, the shame of, secretly chatting with him on his live stream a year ago, just because I'd missed him so much. Like, it's to the point that I was almost close to catfishing him, and I was like, no, that's not cool. But we do stupid things, and I think it's important to own those things and not let the shame overwhelm you so much that it prevents you from living your life and to the fullest. So yeah, I mean, it's hard. Like, I'm experiencing shame around money right now.
Aren't we all?
We all do. And I'm, not necessarily making the best decisions around that regard, but I'm hoping that my house will sell in the next couple of months and it won't matter, and then I'll be fine. But we'll see how things go. Yeah, shame is a hard thing to live with.
Yeah.
And I think it's important to own that, or to get to a place of owning your shame and accepting it as a part of who you are, but it not in a defining way, right? So that you can still like move through the shame and move on with your life.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Yeah. Because we all do shameful things. There's nobody in the world that is perfect. And anyone who thinks they are is lying to themselves.
Mhm.
All right, ready for the next question?
So,
All right, here we go. What's a wound you used to hide but now openly claim?
that's easy. Like I think it's what I just mentioned. The fact was, I was very very open about my depression following diagnosis of my illness and how lonely I was. And I remember it almost became like this thing where if there was this horror movie I remember watching a while back. I forgot what it was called, but it was like the one mantra throughout was like, don't say it, don't think it, don't say it, don't think it, don't say it, don't think it.
Mm.
And yeah, the fact was, and like um, my dad had this thing as well where he'd always have a go at me if I mentioned my illness, and he's like, you shouldn't let it define you, you're fine. I'm like, Dad, like I'm not fine. And yeah, so now it's to the point where I was always apologizing for either my memory or my stamina or whatever it was. But now I'm just, it is what it is. It's okay. It's not the fact that I'm hiding behind it. It's the fact that I have to acknowledge it's part of me now. So like for example, if I park in a handicap spot, and this happened once where some guy came up to me, he's like, "You look fine." I'm like, "Bruh." Like thankfully I had my disability card and I showed it to him and I was like, so listen, can you like do me a favor and jog on then, please? And he was like, "Rah." And but yeah, so now it comes to a point where um, I'm not ashamed anymore. It is what it is.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think for me, I mean, there's probably a bunch that I could answer for this, but the one that's coming to mind strongest that is not the last one I talked about would be like how hard it was for me when I just didn't feel liked, like in school. I didn't really have very many or any close friends, especially in high school. Like my closest friends did not go to the same high school as me. Um,
Oh yeah, I
and
was I was a loser in high school for sure.
I was a huge loser in high school, and it used to hurt me so much. And but I also feel like, it is part of who I am today. Like it in some ways gave me the freedom to pursue my own interest, because when I tried to fit in, when I tried to like the things that other people liked, and I still got made fun of for it. I'm just like, well, what's the point of trying to fit in if you're going to make fun of me no matter what?
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, it was kind of the way that it led to me just coming more into my own, and pursuing my own interests, and then finding a community of other people who were interested in the same things as me. um yeah, I was just talking to a friend last night about how we've been talking about the X-Files, and he was like, um he brought up the X-Files to, or like he's a teacher, right? And none of his students like really know anything about the X-Files or anything. And he's like, yeah, I can't relate to anyone who doesn't know what the X-Files is. Like it's just like you have to have that kind of shared media history to kind of really click with a person. And we're both like, oh yeah, we there's no way we'd be able to get along with anyone who's like under 30 nowadays, because there's just the references are just not there, right? And like just watching the first episode, the pilot of Two Guys, a Girl, and a Pizza Place, they've got like the so there's one character who like sits in the pizza shop and he brings up these memories that he thinks that were his real life, but they're just experiences from movies that he's remembering as if they were his own. So like these movie references that maybe other people wouldn't be able to get, like if they're watching it today, if they grew up with I mean, granted there were classics like Jaws and Casablanca, for example. People know that, people should know those. I hadn't seen Jaws until a few years ago, but I still understood what the reference was. But nowadays, would they know? Would they have seen those things? I don't know.
No,
So so we were just like talking about one of the things that you need to have in a partner, at least for me, is shared references to media. You don't have to watch all of the same things, but you need to have at least some things in common. There's no way I could be with somebody who's in their 20s. They're just not going to understand. I'm 42 next weekend. Like I'm just, I need I need my references. I'm also started watching the TV series Community recently, and the character Abed, he's very similar, like except he knows that they're movie references. Like he just references movies and TV like all the time, and it's like, oh yeah, this is
such a good show.
So this is my first time watching it, and I'm just like, this is so good. I think I started watching it because I had watched an Instagram reel where an autistic guy was saying, there's not very many like autistic representation in the media, like movies, TVs, like characters and stuff. And then he asked people to leave in the comments like who are their favorite autistic coded characters, and I'm just like, I go into the comment, like I had a couple that I wanted to say, but I went into the comments, and some were ones that I had also seen, like, yeah, I see that person is or that character is autistic. Others I'm like, I didn't know what autism was when I watched that before, so I don't have to rewatch that to see if I see this character is autistic or not. And then, but one of the names that kept coming up was Abed from Community, and like I had not seen it yet. I'm like, I guess I should give this show a go. And in the very first episode at the end, Jeff says to him, "By the way, you have Asperger's." I'm like, okay, all right, so at least they call it out, I suppose.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. So he's an interesting character. I love seeing that kind of thing. So yeah, I guess so. The wound is, I was made fun of for various things in high school years, probably as a result of being undiagnosed autistic, and now I openly embrace it. I was fine. At least there is a little bit more representation of autistic people in the media, and people seem to appreciate those characters and have them as favorite characters and things. But anyway, that's where we're at.
Nice.
That's my answer. Okay, next question. We have, how have the wounds you carry shaped your empathy or your defenses?
I think the defenses. Well, I remember like I was very, very defensive in the early goings of it, but I think following my illness and losing my mum shortly thereafter, I think the empathy thing, I'm still working on it, but I think that having the capacity to just not be in your own head and walk in your own shoes is the important thing. Is like you have to be a lot more self-aware of your surroundings, and I'm always reminded that no matter how bad you think you have it, it's not that bad in the general scheme of things, right? And like, I still have a home. I'm very, very blessed that I have a father who should be in his twilight, enjoying his twilight years and still looking after me, that kind of thing. And so it goes to show that no matter how bad you think you have it, there's there's someone outside who has it 10 times worse. And not to say that you're not important, you are. It's just that things have the capacity to get better.
Yeah. For me, I think I've already kind of covered the empathy part, like the history with my Malaysian ex allowed me to have more empathy for, you know, not treating people the way that he treated me with the ghosting stuff. I've definitely felt like the pain that I've gone through, like especially the kind of emotional and psychological abuse that I experienced in my marriage, uh, definitely led to me having more empathy for people going through those kinds of experiences as well. And a lot of people go through worse than how I experienced it because I didn't have any of the physical abuse side of things. Granted, I don't know that that's necessarily more painful than emotional abuse because bruises heal faster than emotional wounds, I think. you know but you shouldn't compare apples to oranges or however it is. But that history also shaped my defenses for sure. I think I've talked about this before, like the pain of being abandoned or feeling abandoned leads me to put my walls up in certain areas because I'm afraid that if I say the wrong thing they might leave me and abandon me. If somebody comes at me saying something that I did wrong and it sounds like an accusation that I disagree with how they phrase it, then I will be more defensive. It is something I'm trying to work on, but I need to have more situations where I'm encountering those experiences where my automatic response is to be defensive, so I can short circuit it in the moment. Like I don't feel like I've had enough experiences since having that realization to know if I can handle it better, now that I know what my defensiveness is and like what triggers it, right?
Hmm.
So yeah, it's yeah, I've got so many triggers. I feel like, and I sometimes you can't even know what they are until like you're in the moment, um and then when you're triggered you're just automatically defense, fight, flight, freeze, fawn responses, your automatic survival responses. And it, to me, I think it tends to be that I need a lot of time afterwards to reflect, uh, and really think back on why I behaved the way that I did before I can completely understand. And I think that means that I guess the people that are closest to me need to be people who are understanding that I might need to take some time away to think about things, and not to fault me for those moments where I'm not in control of my defensiveness.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, it's so hard to get in that kind of mindset where you just have to defend yourself, because I felt like that was my automatic kind of response in my marriage as well. Like I just felt like constantly blamed, and I was like, well, if you don't appreciate me, then what is the point here, right? I need to have more consideration for knowing that the person still cares about me, even if they come to me with something that is bothering them that I did. Like, if I know that they still care about me, and that their motivation is that they want to help me work through the thing, I'm probably going to be less likely to be defensive. Um, but it's so hard when I've grown up feeling like I'm not good enough, or um, that I'm blamed for things that aren't solely my fault. Then you know, it's very easy to get stuck in that defensive mindset.
Yeah, I think I mean, I call it quicksand. Like when one thing goes wrong,
Mm.
another thing goes wrong, and another thing goes wrong, and it's the more you fight, the more you're gonna sink. And it's all about healthy detachment every once in a while, but
Yeah.
it's not easy.
Yeah. And then
Yeah.
other times, like you can have that healthy detachment but you still need to go back and feel the things that you should have felt back then in the moment because um, otherwise it, gets stuck in your body somewhere because you never actually felt the thing that you should have felt. I kind of felt like that with my marriage. Like I was very good at detaching and not experiencing any grief or like minimal grief around my marriage ending. Obviously, when I got married, it was something that I wanted it to last forever. By the time I was done with it, I was like, you know what? I needed to set aside all of the feelings that I was feeling and experiencing um, in order to proceed with the legal matters and just handle things without getting bogged down in arguments and things about what was the right way to handle things.
Hmm.
um, it was a good thing that I did in the moment because I ended up getting exactly what I or like almost exactly what I wanted out of the divorce. So, it worked out for me in the end, but I still feel like I'm, uh, experiencing some of the, the lag of not coping with that grief at the time.
But we're getting better. That's the important thing.
That's right.
Hmm.
That's right. All right, we are flying through these questions tonight, so we may have time for a psychology question. That was a questionnaire at the end. We'll see. Next question is: what's a wound you think others underestimate in you because it's invisible?
Hmm. Hmm. Um, that's an interesting question. I think because part of my illness, it's two faceted. It's both physical and mental. So for our audiences who might not know, I've got a condition called Guillain-Barré syndrome with encephalitis. So the Guillain-Barré syndrome part means that the nerves, the body's attacking itself. It can't tell friend from foe. The encephalitis part is the inflammation of the brain, which affects my memory cortex. And I think it's like for example, where some days whenever I'm out and about, I feel great. Like if you look at me, I'll go out and about, and I don't feel any different. I don't look any different. But mind you, I'm still numb from the neck down. I still can't feel anything. I
Oh,
still
wow.
have, yeah. So like I remember at one point, I went hiking, which was quite interesting, like a mini hike with some family friends. And I think after a while, I was like, "Why is my leg wet?" And I looked down and I realized like my I must have brushed against a branch or something or a sharp thorn, and I had like just got like a really bad cut that was going that the blood was seeping into my socks, so that's how I
And
could feel.
you had no idea
No,
because you were just that numb.
yeah,
Yeah, I don't think you've talked about that side of
yeah,
your illness before. I didn't realize that because you, you're obviously not paralyzed
no,
the way that you were before. You have movement,
I have full
but that's
movement now.
different from being able to feel things.
Like I remember, like yeah, like when I was at the hospital a few months ago, like the doctor would have like a really sharp uh, object, like a stick, and he would poke me and go, "Can you feel that?" I'm like, "I can't feel a thing." I mean, I, I can feel the pressure against the skin. I can feel that, but I don't feel whether it's sharp or blunt or hot and cold necessarily.
Yeah.
So it's tricky.
Wow.
Yeah. So
That
so the best way I think about it is like I'm like a superhero where I don't feel anything. I mean, like I feel pain. Obviously,
okay.
Yeah, so like, have you seen the film Kick-Ass where the guy doesn't feel pain? So obviously, I feel a lot of pain, but I don't know that I'm hurt. So
Right. Wow,
okay.
that's wild.
Yeah. So I mean, it's okay. Like, but put it this way, I always say it's. I don't know if I'll get 100% back, but compared to how I was during my onset, where literally you could have like taken like a really sharp like stick and jabbed it in, I wouldn't have felt the thing. Obviously now I'm much better, but yeah, it's just because people assume that you're fine doesn't mean that you are.
Right.
Mm.
So I have a question. Does it, so that I assume that that means that like you can't even feel like like nice intimacy kind of feelings of stuff. It was just nothing.
Nothing.
Wow.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm better now in the sense that I can sort of feel the differences between hot and cold. But I remember in like there are times where I'll be in the shower and I'll see all the steam coming up, and I love hot showers because I feel cleaner. And I remember like at one point my body started turning pink, and I was like, okay, maybe I shouldn't do this.
Maybe it's too hot.
Maybe it's too hot. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah,
Yeah. I mean, yeah, but it's got to have some advantages, right? Like,
yeah.
you can go out in the snow and be like in a t-shirt and shorts.
Oh God. Actually, this is really funny. I've developed this really bad habit. I'll start watching videos about what it's like in Siberia because Siberia is the coldest place on earth. If you have a bucket of hot water, I'm not joking, you throw it up in the air, it will evaporate before it lands. That's how
Mhm.
cold it is. And things though, that's like nature porn for me now. Like I'll be watching it, I'll be like, yeah. So but right
Wow.
now, that's what I'm aiming for Siberia. So that's my
Does it
my
mean like
retirement.
you can also like go out in when it's like pouring down and with rain and this stuff doesn't impact you the same way? Like if you're like have drenched
No, I mean,
clothes, it's like, or
well,
is
I
it
mean,
still
obviously,
like
like I'll feel the sogginess and stuff, and obviously that's not pleasant. But I won't feel cold necessarily.
okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
and actually, this is really interesting. Like, there's actually some physical stuff that we found out. Like, I made the mistake of having a really, really, really hot shower and I just wanted it just to feel fresh. And I went back into my room, and we actually have a special air conditioning unit, which is like super powerful. And when I came in, I realized, why am I steaming? I was literally for like half an hour, steam was coming off me, and I was like, oh, I shouldn't have done that. So,
Wow. Wow. Yeah, it's one of those things where as much as you can explain, I can't, I don't think I could ever fully understand what that experience is like because I don't have that lived experience. So it's fascinating to me.
mhm.
So thank you so much for sharing because I really
Yeah, yeah,
I don't think that you've gone into detail about that
yeah.
before. Wow. For me, what's a wound that others underestimate in you because it's invisible? Probably the emotional abuse of my marriage. Um, because I think that I carry it well. I don't like explode in tears and things, but it still like lives in me. As I said a little bit before, there's just I can't, you know, I I wish there was a way to completely heal from all of that stuff, but I can never predict when I'm going to be triggered by something because I was with him for so long, right? We were married for over 13 years before I filed for divorce,
Mm.
and when you're with somebody that long, when you're around them, near constantly, that the way that you behave in situations as a result of them stays with you, even no matter how long it's been when you're not around them anymore, you still have, to work through those automatic responses and defenses. And um yeah, it's not something I really talk about to a great extent. I know I don't really blog about it very much because I part of it is I think I've tried so hard to move on from it and grow from it and ignore it, right? Um, and as a result, I just don't talk about it very much. And so people don't really understand or even ask, like, to the extent of what that's like for me. And yeah, so that's my answer.
But I mean, at sometimes, like, do you find it almost therapeutic that you don't have to talk about it?
Oh yeah, I mean, I guess it's nice to not have to worry about it, but I also think that that might have held me back in my last relationship. The fact that I didn't want to talk about it because I didn't want him to, uh, you know, be concerned about me, or like, or whatever. I don't. And I think that if I had talked about it with him, he may have gotten a better perspective on what was going on with me in certain situations.
Hmm.
So I do feel like there are times where I think it's important and relevant for that to come up in a conversation, especially in a relationship sense. It's fine, not in in friendships and stuff. Doesn't matter so much because I'm not going to be triggered in the same way in a friendship as what I am in a relationship. But in a
Hmm.
relationship, absolutely, I need to be talking about that stuff
Yeah.
so that they, can be a little bit more um, understanding when I don't react in a way that they might expect me to, and be a little bit more forgiving. I would love to not be triggered, but like that's an impossible ask in a relationship, I think.
Hmm. Hmm. Sure. I think it's tricky about the duality of how much to share and how much you want to take on, because it's a very slippery slope. Like for example, I had a pen pal for the longest time, and it got to the point where if they didn't reply to me in a few days, I would start to panic, and then
Hmm.
I would just send them another message, continuing the email, or I'll send them something else. And the person eventually got back to me, and they're like, "Listen, this is a bit too much." And I didn't. It didn't even filter my into my mind, and I was like, "Oh my god, I'm so sorry." And this links to someone who I work with. He's also disabled, and he has a pension of. He sends up to about 6 or 7 links by WhatsApp every day. And at first, I was like, "Yeah, this is cool, haha. Okay, cool, cool, cool." And it got to the point where I just had to mute him, And
Hmm.
I still talk to him very, very often, but it comes to a point where I was just like, "Dude, like, I remember, I think at one point I had up to about 20 links he sent me a day, and it was a lot." So, but at the same time, I realized it's nothing to admonish him for, because that's how he connects now. Because that's just him. I'll just, you can sort of work around it without hurting his feelings, pretty much. So,
Yeah.
mhm.
All right. Are you ready for the next question?
Do it. Next
Okay.
question.
Next question. How do unhealed wounds influence the connections you choose or avoid today?
Um, oh, that's easy. I think it's, you know, you, I think as you get older, and maybe either, let's say, your health or your finances or something is diminished, you kind of realize that, you know, uh, you have less fucks to give for all intents and purposes. And I remember when I was younger, it really, really, really used to bother me if I thought that someone didn't like me or someone didn't want to spend time with me. And to this day, that was this irritates me because I can still remember everything about this. That I was in school, and that was this girl called Jane who I didn't really know, and she just came up to me. She's like, "Sharon, I think you're an ass," just out of nowhere, and I went, "What? What?" And it bothered me. I mean, as you can tell, it still bothers me. You know, like why would someone say that? And obviously, like later on, I realized it wasn't about me; it was about her and everything. But yeah, like I realized that sometimes you can't please everybody, and it's important that you know when to cut yourself off.
Mm,
So yeah, I mean, you can't be friends with everyone, and it's not your job to be friends with everyone.
exactly.
Yeah.
I tend to steer clear of negative Nancy's,
Mhm.
entitled fuckwits.
Yeah.
Anyone who's too up their own butts to care about anyone else. Um, I was going to say something else. Um,
It's right. It's really interesting you mentioned negative Nancy's. Like, I call them emotional vampires.
that was what I was going to say. Actually, yeah,
Yeah.
that was the word I was going to use. But I think there's there's some overlap, but I think that like it's a Venn
Yeah.
diagram, right?
Yeah.
Where
It
there's
is. It
some
is.
like emotional vampires that are not necessarily negative Nancy's, but like they require a lot of your attention.
They require sustenance. Yes, they do.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
and it
Uh,
can be very draining.
Yeah, whereas like a negative Nancy, you might just be like negative about things, but it's not as emotionally draining. It's just like constantly like negative things in your ear.
Yeah.
It just depends on how like emotionally volatile the subject is, I guess. Um, yeah,
But
I tend to.
it's really interesting. Like with it, when it comes to emotional vampires, I found that if stoicism is probably the best self defense. Like people might say, "Oh, you're cold," or "You don't really care," or "You're not talking," or like as per usual. But I found that yeah, if you give them nothing, they can take nothing.
Yeah, exactly, and that's what you need to behave like in those situations if you don't want to get caught up in their drama. My ex-husband was an expert at creating drama, and I've become more not quite an expert, but like quite good at avoiding getting caught up in the drama these days.
Hmm.
So that's been a plus for me. Um, and then I guess for in terms of the connections I choose to have, the people that put the effort in,
Yeah,
and the people who accept me for who I am, the people who are going to forgive me for my mistakes, because that's what I provide as well. Like I am a very forgiving person, probably to my detriment in some cases. Right? Like I'm still like, despite all of the pain that I went through with my Malaysian ex, I've forgiven him for his stuff countless times over. It doesn't mean that what he did was right, but I can't stay in that kind of grudge mindset. I don't think I ever had a grudge towards him, but my ex husband was an expert at holding grudges forever,
a black belt.
and I exactly, and I think that was one of the reasons that he was such a negative Nancy, uh, because like if you stay stuck in that kind of mindset, you're you're not moving on with your life. You're not growing from the experience, and you really need to be able to do that in order to live a healthier life. You know.
Yeah, and like it's interesting. Like one thing I've learned about negativity is that it takes energy to be negative.
Oh, it does.
So
Yeah,
much, and it's
so much.
exhausting. And I'm just like, why would you do that to yourself? Like being negative, I remember it feels like you're literally half your energy just goes straight towards that. And I'm like, That's not productive at all.
No,
No.
no. I mean, the only way it might be a good thing is if you are with a partner and you're both negative about the same thing, but it's not a person. Because if it's a person, then
Mm.
you're like, "Mm." um, but sometimes it is a bonding experience to like be negative together with somebody about the same
Oh
kind of
yeah,
thing.
that's so much fun. Yes.
And sometimes it's like the politics, for example, or what's happening in the news. It's very different than like towards a specific person that is in your you know
Your
circle
orbit.
of
Yeah.
in your orbit, right? um but if the person is treating you terribly, then sometimes you need to let off some steam about it, and then you can feel the things and then move on.
Yeah.
But yeah, like if you stay stuck in it, not healthy at all.
No.
Not healthy at all.
No. I mean, that's the thing, and it's easy to stay stuck in it. It's very easy, but at the end of the day, though, it's just unhealthy, really.
Oh yeah.
And you'll feel better if you make the conscious choice not to avoid it, but to choose to just cut it off.
Hmm.
You might feel like you're the bad guy. You might feel like you're there's no reason to make this choice, but in the long term, you'll be better for it.
Yeah. All right, the last question that we have from ChatGPT. And if anyone watching wants to ask us some related questions
Please.
before we finish, feel free to drop those in the chat. My dad did say that he is watching while or like listening while he's out, so he's not able to chat. But
Hi,
if there
Frank.
is anyone else watching, feel free to drop us some questions or comments in the chat, and we will get to those next. And here we have the last question. Which wounds are yours and which were passed down to you through family, culture, or relationships?
Hmm. Hmm.
Do you feel like you have like generational trauma?
Um, Maybe not generational per se. I think that I had a bit of a chip on my shoulder when I first moved abroad. Not so much during sixth form when I was 16 to 18, because I was in a very high class college, sixth form college. And I mean, say what you want about the difficulties we had there, but if anything, I was treated with a lot of respect, and that was great. I think it was only when I was much older, well, much older as in 18 onwards, when I was in university, both in England and America, people had this. I remember this one specific memory, and it still cracks me up. It still makes me laugh. Uh, I remember I was on a balcony in this pub in the student union, and someone asked me where I was from, and I said, "Oh, I'm from Malaysia." And they're like, "Malaysia, really? Wow!" And I'm like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah." And they're like, "Oh, wow! I didn't know you guys were so developed." And I just burst out laughing. And
Wow.
I remember some of my friends were just like, "What the hell?" And I was just in tears laughing. I was like, "Yeah, well, my parents, bless their hearts, they dropped me off from the tree and and, and everything." And I just went on, and I could see this person's eyes just going, "And I'm gonna go." And I kept on laughing. And I remember some of my friends were like, "Dude, I'm so sorry." I'm like, "No, man, that was hilarious." So, and I don't know. Like I think the more I go into it, I learn if you take things on the chin and you kind of um, return back as a joke. I know it's easier said than done, which I still struggle with. But
Mm,
if you kind of turn back their negativity into something funny, then it's the wounds can be not self-inflicted but reflected back onto them.
yeah.
Yeah. What about
Yeah.
you?
I try to do that too. um, I don't know if this is like the exactly an answer to this, but I feel like I kind of made it felt like a revelation at the time. I don't know if I've thought about this before, but I had an appointment with my therapist earlier this week, and something that occurred to me during the appointment was because I was going listing off like a lot of my wounding, like family woundings and stuff that I got from my mum with expectations in terms of like career and going into engineering and that sort of thing. And it just, while I was rambling about this stuff to my therapist, I was like, maybe that's why I connect so well with Asian people in Malaysia, and why I want to be back around that culture, because that is so common. Like, as part of the culture is like kids are raised to become engineers and other like top professions and stuff. So when you grow up with that kind of environment, it develops you in a particular way. And so I'm like, oh, so I had a similar kind of childhood to Asian people.
Mhm.
So maybe that's why I feel like I fit in there better than here. I
Yeah.
don't know. Is that weird?
No, no, no. I mean,
Um,
I think it's interesting actually, because if you look at it, like from what I remember, uh, um, like basically, like yeah, like in most Western cultures, when the child reaches 18, usually parents go, okay, see you later, and you're off. But in Asian cultures, which I'm very, very grateful for, although to be fair, it can be a double-edged sword, families typically usually stick together until, let's say, the child is getting married. Then they'll have to find their own way. And yeah, I mean, it's tough because I know that in England and America, where I stayed, usually when you hit 18, your parents just go, okay, I've done all I can, sayonara. So it's tricky.
I mean, to be fair, I'm kind of doing that with my daughter, but not exactly like that. My daughter is moving back to Australia as of January. She's her dad has booked her the ticket, but her dad is moving back to Australia with her, so she's going to be living with her dad. But it's like kind of like I've kicked her out of my my house in a way, because I made the decision to move somewhere that she was not going to move to with me, right?
Yeah.
And so yeah, so I and I've definitely like, my mindset is way more of the Western mindset of like, yeah, once you're old enough to take care of yourself, goodbye. I don't need you to be living with me, and I don't need to contact that Asian families seem to have. But at the same time, but I was raised in a way that I was more like that. My mom was not Asian, but she definitely had more
Right.
kind of, from what I have heard and gathered about Asian mothers, it's definitely more like that
That's funny.
style as what I had growing
That's
up.
cool. That's awesome.
So yeah, it's really interesting. I mean, I also, after I read Simu Liu's autobiography, or his memoir, um, I came to the realization that one of the reasons that I related so well with Asian people was because or like the um, Asian Americans who, their families are not from here, but they grew up here, was I had even though I'm white, my parents were not from Australia, so I grew up in another country different from my parents, and so I had a very similar kind of experience as what Asian Americans might have for uh, growing up in a culture that is not technically the same
Not their
as
own.
their ancestors, right? Yeah. So I don't know. I've clearly had a very weird life. Different, not your typical white person's growing up
Mhm.
experience. Yeah, we've definitely. I don't know when it started for us whites, but we. I feel like we were. kind of encouraged to pursue more of our own interests rather than following the experiences of, that, or following the path that our parents had laid out for us. um but yeah, but I still had that too, with that live that life that way. Right.
Right.
Be an engineer. You're smarter than this. Don't go into the creative arts. You've got no future there.
Well, like, that's the
You're not going to make money that way.
that was very similar to me until thankfully, when I was in school, when they're like, okay, you do medicine, you do science. I'm like, oh god. And thankfully, like, even though I said this isn't me, they're like, no, no, keep trying. Thankfully, when my results came out, they were like, yeah, okay, this isn't you. I'm like, yeah, thanks. And the one thing I appreciate about my parents, which honestly I don't think I give them enough credit for, was they were able to pivot and they go, okay, the kid's not going to be a scientist or a doctor anytime soon, but these are his strengths. Just push him to go towards that instead.
Yeah.
And they were, if anything, more than supportive. Not to say that necessarily they understood, but once that documentation was there that I was not so inclined in
Yeah.
science and math, they were like, okay, but he's very, very high in this. Let's just push him that way. So that's one thing I'm very grateful for.
Yeah, that's
Mhm.
good. That's good. Have we completely answered this question?
I think in
Do you
terms
have
of
anything else to touch on?
relationships, yeah, in terms of relationships, just for being completely honest and transparent, my parents didn't exactly have the most solid relationship. There were a lot of holes there, and one thing I've always told myself is, uh, if I was lucky enough to find a partner, I would not do to her what they did to each other.
Mm.
And it's great because it taught me a lot of things, like what not to do. And at the same time, I remember there were times when my parents were ill, and despite it all, they called each other to their beds and they were like holding each other's hands, which is very rare for me. And I remember just thinking, okay, so when in doubt, it's still there. And I just wish that
Mm.
they weren't pushed to that extreme. So, like,
Mm.
yeah, like, tell your friends you love them, tell your loved ones you love them, and don't be a toxic douche. If you're not happy, say you're not happy. Don't sit there and let it marinate. And it
Yeah.
might be uncomfortable, but sometimes you need to have that conversation.
Right. Yeah. That conversation leads to resentment. Having that conversation can lead to more understanding, as long as you don't stay in that defensive place,
Yeah.
and you come at the conversation with more curiosity and a desire to work through the team,
Mhm.
um, rather than uh, the other person is a problem to be fixed. It's something to work on as a team. And yeah, I
Well,
had
it's
similar.
interesting. It's not just so much a problem can be fixed, but it's a problem you think you can fix.
Mm,
Sometimes that's also a double-edged sword.
right. Yeah.
Mhm.
And sometimes the solution is not going to be what you think it needs to be, right? And if you say this is how it needs to be fixed, sometimes the other person is going to be like, well, I don't feel like I can do that, so I guess things are over. um Whereas if you're more open to getting creative with a solution, rather than having a particular way that something needs to be resolved, uh, you'll find usually, that there are other ways around things, and as long as you work together.
Mhm.
uh, yeah, but I like you, I had, well, my parents were split up when I was 9, so uh, I definitely had relationship kind of wounding from that. Blocked a lot of stuff from my memory. I don't have a lot of memory from my childhood, but I know that like my parents splitting up was a big part of why I fought so hard for so long to try and make my marriage work, because I didn't want to have a quote unquote failed marriage the way that my parents. And sometimes, you know, you don't actually have control over that. It's just, it's gonna happen.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm hoping to make smarter decisions next time, but we'll see.
Well, see, that's the thing. It's. I think that's half the battle already won. If when you acknowledge that it takes two to tango, and if let's say you're going to react a certain way, you just have to do your best to temper those expectations and be better. I mean,
Mhm.
obviously, like one thing I've learned is you can control yourself, you can't control other people. So, but all you can do is
Straight.
focus on how you react and how you behave.
Yeah. All right. My dad has left us a few
Ooh,
comments
so exciting!
for us in here as well. So he's I'll move on to those. And my dad says, "We had a good show today." Thank you, Dad. I'm glad you enjoyed listening to it, even if you weren't
Thank you.
able to chat while we were uh, having most of the discussion. Then he says, "I of what was shared today." So
Oh, thank
very
you.
relatable
That's good.
stuff. Yay. Good
Yeah,
thing that we're having these conversations. Then he says, your aunt and uncle were not so attached to
to your mom.
your mum.
Mm,
Um, or her aunt and uncle. Oh, so I'm assuming he's talking about the aunt that or aunt and uncle that she moved in. I didn't know that she was still had a partner at that time. Anyway, I never met this aunt's husband, but as I have I talked about this, my mum's parents passed away when she was a teenager, so she had to go and live with her aunt in a completely different state. And my mum was the oldest sibling. Her sisters were younger than her, so they all had to go and live with her aunt, Wyoming, when she grew up in Indiana. So yeah, her her aunt I met later on when I was I guess I was 7 when I first met this particular aunt. She felt very cold and detached, so I can see where my dad's coming from with
mm.
the not so attached to it.
Oh dear.
And then my dad says, it is hard to give what you haven't been given. Yes.
Or
Yes.
conversely, I think that's very interesting as well. Like, in some ways, it can be easy to give, because if let's say, for example, you have, I don't know, let's say maybe a paternal figure where they've been cold to you or whatever. Like, you in turn ensure that you never go through
You
that
have the
same path.
desire, yeah, you have the
Yeah,
desire to do everything in the opposite.
right.
But
Like, say you want to break the cycle.
even if you have the desire, the programming in you is you have to work against your programming because that your parents did, right? Um,
Yeah,
and so it's still hard, even if you do a good job of giving what you haven't been given yourself. Um, doesn't mean that it's easy to do so if you haven't been given it, right?
yeah. Very true. Very true.
So, like people pleasing, for example, you're giving, like people pleasers are often people who are giving things that they've never received themselves and they don't know how to receive it. Um, but it's also it weighs on them. It hurts them in the long run because they're not. It's challenging for them to be on the receiving end of it too.
Yeah, yeah, and to be fair, like people pleasing, one thing I've noticed is that you'll give too much, you won't know when to stop.
Yes.
So it's
Yeah.
very
You have no
self-deprecating.
boundaries. Yeah. Yeah. Uh, So by hard, it is unhealthy in a way by giving
Very
too
unhealthy.
much that you have not been given yourself.
Yeah, I mean, like, and to be fair, that like I know it sounds like a very strange thing to say negatively about, but yeah, I mean, it could be as simple as giving someone too much time, in
Mm,
the sense that you could be smothering them.
mm,
You could be better off putting your energy in something else. There's always something.
yeah, right. All right. My dad's last comment that he has here, unless he adds some more decision to not be like my parents, so didn't argue.
Mm.
It's balance and good communication built on trust. Without trust, it is hard to build real intimacy.
Your
Yeah.
father is a very wise man.
I think my dad went too I think he's saying that he went too far in the opposite direction
Mm.
with the not arguing stuff. Whereas, because yeah, if you see that like fighting leads to, disruptive things, it makes you not want to behave like that. But some fighting is actually necessary. Like some arguing is actually necessary for the health of a relationship. Like, um, otherwise, it builds resentment if you don't talk about the things that are bothering you. So yeah, so that balance and good communication built on trust. You can't have those arguments if you don't have trust.
Hang on.
So, mhm, mhm. All right. How are you feeling? I mean, let me see. I did have another potential psychology test for us. I'm going to see how long the questions are, because if it might take too long, then we should do it at a different time. 40 items, 7. Yeah, it says, I don't know. I think that's probably too long for us to do in 40 minutes. So we will save that for another stream, I think.
Please, thank you.
Close that. Since Sharad has a time that he needs to be out because he's got something else going on.
Apologies all.
It's all right. We have a shorter episode today. Next week we will not be streaming. Sharad is going to be traveling.
I'm going to India.
Yeah, have fun.
Thank you.
And next week here is we've got Thanksgiving. It's my birthday that weekend, like next Saturday. So I'm going to be going to a fan convention on my birthday, and I ended up deciding to get a ticket for the Friday night part as well, so I can go to a couple of panels. It's too expensive to get photos with everybody. And so like I'll go to some panels instead. Did you ever watch the Faculty, that horror movie from the 90s?
Yes, but I can't really remember it that much.
Okay. They have the main guy from that, Sean Hattersey, is going to be at the convention. They've got a whole panel about the Faculty. I don't know that it was very widely watched, or how popular it was. I've seen it a bunch of times, so I'm like, I'm going to go to that. I'm going to see what it see if there are other people that were big fans. And then there's also a panel with a couple of the voice cast of Avatar: The Last Airbender. So I'm interested
that's so
in
cool.
that too. Yeah.
Oh wow.
Saturday's intense, man. There is a supernatural panel with a couple of cast members that I have not did not attend the supernatural convention that I went to several years ago, and one who did. And there is also, if you're familiar with the reboot of or remake of Battlestar Galactica, Edward James Olmos is going to be there. Getting a photo with him so I can add to my Battlestar Galactica photos
That's so
with
cool.
people. And There is a Back to the Future panel because Christopher Lloyd is going to be there.
That's awesome.
And bunch of X-Files cast members are attending the convention. But the X-Files panel is on Sunday, and I'm not going on Sunday because I did not want to pay to go the whole weekend, and I wanted to have friends over for celebrating my birthday the day after my birthday. So I'm not going to that part, but there is a Gillian Anderson panel in the evening, and I'm going to go to that one at least because, oh my God. I was such a huge fan of the X-Files. It was one of those shows that I watched with my mum. So I'm looking forward to that as a way of celebrating my birthday for next weekend. So that's why we were skipping next week. Hopefully we'll be back the following week, but I don't know how long Sharon is in India for, so we'll see how things go. Yeah, we'll find out. Yeah, so be on the lookout on the channel to stay updated and keep abreast of when the next episode will be. I would like to do at least one more episode before the end of the year, and maybe I will close it out after one more episode because I really need to be focusing on getting the fuck out of the country and selling my house. And you know, I'm not going to have as much ability to live stream if I don't even know where I'm going to be. If I'm going to be at home or if I'm traveling or whatever. But you know, we'll see. But maybe we'll do other streams, like media discussion streams, after we close out the first season of Real Talk with the Vulnerable Angel and Friends. As always, if you're not subscribed, click the subscribe button, hit the notification bell. That is the best way to find out when we're actually going to be live. You'll get notified when we're live. So until next time, stick with those wounds that are, you know, some wounds are important and need to stay with you because they're part of who you are. Focus on those, and